The game happened. It happened. I mean, I don't know how else to say that. And the Celtics, I looked like a fool. Mavericks looked silly.
I'm glad you said it, Beadle.
I know. Shams was
something.
at the game, and so now I'm kind of curious to hear like the vibes inside the building. We'll get to that. We're going to get to that in a second. But yeah, this was ugly. It was double digits. There was a 21-point lead at half, which is when I thought this is not going to work. Mavericks did make it a little interesting in the third. They got to within 8, and then it was over. Porzingis had 20. He clearly feels fine. He was 21 minutes off the bench. Tatum was 16. Brown with 20. Luka did have 30. But Kyrie, all eyes on, had 12 points. The beauty of it, Chandler, is probably this wasn't a one-player situation for Boston. I would imagine that's best-case scenario, but worst for the Dallas Mavericks. Do they have a chance after what you saw yesterday?
Well, the Celtics have folded in Game 2 before. They did it against Miami.
True.
They did it against Cleveland. So, yeah, this is, at the end of the day, this is just one game. There's no reason to panic if you're Dallas. There's definitely a lot of areas that they have to clean up. Their defense was pretty bad, man. There was atrocious. They had basically just pick on Luka, pick on Kyrie, whoever got a switch. Put your head down and drive. Make them foul you, make them stay in front of you. And there was just layup to dunk after dunk to draw 2, kick to a wide open 3. It was really bad. So they have to clean that up. And then on the offensive end, they obviously didn't score many points. They got good looks. I can't complain about Kyrie's looks. He just missed a couple bunnies. Luka was doing his thing, getting guys involved. They just didn't make shots. So I think there's definitely a lot of things that they can clean up. But this was such a good, balanced attack from Boston. Porzingis was unbelievable immediately. It's like as soon as he got in the game, it was a game changer, and I loved when he first walked on the court. You could see he's so excited, like the crowd literally
winking
got
at
to
people.
him. He was hyped, and his contribution last night was undeniable, blocking shots. So it's going to be a tall task. We knew that before. It was Boston is just a better team. They match up too well. They play both ends of the floor very, very well. So they showed that last night, and this was an ass whooping.
I mean, for real, Lou. Like, this wasn't even fun.
Yeah, it was a dominant performance. I'm glad that we could see this and we can kind of put all of these things behind us that we've been trying to say about Boston. One thing we can agree on, if there's going to be one game they've showed that it's going to be Game 2. That's been their Achilles heel. But they've also looked like a well-oiled machine last night. This is a dominant performance from top to bottom. I think they had a great game plan. They went out and executed it, and they got a big win. They made Dallas look like they haven't been the team that they've been throughout the postseason.
Right.
They made them look like they weren't supposed to be there last night. And this is what you want to see from the team that's been 14 games better than everybody all season long, who's been dominant in the postseason throughout the postseason. And we've said, they don't have killer instinct. They don't have this and that. Well, let's put all at the rest. Let's put all at the bed. This is a dominant performance from top to bottom. They got 6 guys in double digits, almost shot 50% from the field. And I'm only talking about offense. Defensively, they were amazing. They were taking away the lob look, took away some of the things that made Dallas successful all year long. And like I said, man, top to bottom, this was just a great win for Boston.
Lou touched on it, but defensively, 2 things I noticed. First of all, every time Kyrie Irving would go to the bench and would check back in, there was no dialogue between Mazzulla and Drew Holiday. Kyrie goes to check in, Drew Holiday goes to check in. So they matched minutes, which was unbelievable, and I love that. Drew Holiday was physical with them.
How irritating if you're Kyrie.
Oh, my God. It's like you can't shake this guy.
And what made Dallas successful was the lob that they can give Lively, that they can give Gafford. They were even fouling on the lobs just to make a point. That's not happening in this game.
Yeah, they would take away corner threes and they took away a lob. You could tell that was an emphasis leading up to this game because they wouldn't do that. You're right. Porzingis would literally back up and just foul Lively. Lively, you could tell he had a little nerves last night. He couldn't catch the ball. And then Jaylen Brown, he really took on the ownership of full court pressing Luka. He plucked him twice for fast break dunks. He's just, when he doesn't have the ball, he's literally bodying him. He's being physical with him. So he took the ownership of this is my matchup. I'm gonna handle him. Drew, you take Kyrie and let the chips fall as they may. And they really locked in, and it paid off because this was a hell of a performance on both sides of the ball.
And we spoke about it yesterday. They have so many guys that can play one-on-one defense. We don't have to run junk defenses. We don't have to run 2 guys at Luka. We don't have to run 2 guys at Kyrie. We don't have to trap. We're just gonna switch and we're gonna sit down and we're gonna guard, and we like our chances with that, and they were successful with it.
Guys, I think Boston could win this whole thing.
Oh, stop.
I really think it could happen.
Shams,
you were there.
For one game, we're like, Boston for the sweep.
I know it feels like a sweep.
But when it looks like this, it's
it's hard not to say that. But what was it like in the building? Obviously, we get to see Donnie Wahlberg on our TV, but you were there in person. Was it crazy?
Michelle, you need to come out here and just get as raucous as some of these fans. This is the second year I've covered the finals in Boston. I did in 2022 and this year as well. And the fans are just nuts. I mean, the energy that they bring, I don't know if you can see it on television, but the energy that they bring, you have to give them a lot of credit. It was really wild in 2022. And even this year, the energy that they have for their team. But you saw the moment Kristaps Porzingis got in the game, the boost that he gave the crowd, the boost he gave the Celtics. Talk about the mid-post, pick and pop, defending at the rim, dribble handoffs, the way he's able to be so versatile. This is someone who I think in New York, he was a star. In Dallas, obviously, he went through a lot of ups, a lot of downs. And then in Washington, he found himself, got stronger. And he found his stride, even though that was a bad Wizards team or a Wizards team that didn't live up to expectations. You saw him make a lot of strides, and he's only just shot out even more here in Boston. And this is 5.5, 6 weeks after that gruesome calf injury, a non-contact calf injury that he had. He rehabs it, and he had 2 very important 5-on-5 scrimmages over the last several days. He had 2 in the span of 3 days, and I'm told in one of them he even rolled his ankle, but he shook that off. He got right to it, and you saw the impact that he had on that game. He's obviously an X factor for the Celtics team. He's the reason why they're so different this year compared to years past. Dallas has lost 3 of 4 game ones now. I think that they did find something in that third quarter that they can bottle up. I don't think Kyrie Irving's going to score 12 points and shoot that bad again. But for Kristaps Porzingis and the Celtics, that game was big for him and getting his confidence in that moment.
And this is why people know and value KP on this team, because when you play a team like Dallas and they have bigs like Gafford and Lively, he's too much of a guard where you can see he fakes dribble handoffs, he gets to the rim, he's too quick. And then when they do switch, because they left them no choice, they have the Josh Greens, the Derek Jones, and these shots he's hitting, they're not easy. He's got a real talent where he literally can just keep the ball up like Dirk and just shoot over like which is being physical. And these are not easy looks. And the fact that he has no legs, he hasn't played in such a long time, and he came out here and had this type of performance was really shocking. You have to attribute his work, that he didn't just sit around, he stayed in shape. He got his reps up, he followed the offense, he didn't do anything outside of the offense. Every time he got this mismatch, he exposed it. And that's why he is a huge X factor for them, because his versatility offensively is everything they need. He's too big for a small guy to guard him, and he's too quick and guard-like for a big to guard him. So it really is a mismatch nightmare for them.
I mean, 38 days he missed.
It's a long time.
He's an actual, literal X factor because you didn't know what to expect.
And showed no rust.
None, right? Lou, I was like, oh, let's just see what he looks like when he comes. Nothing.
It's a matchup problem. No matter who they switched on him, he was just shooting over guys. You know, he's 7 feet, can shoot the basketball, can put it on the ground. And it just looked easy to him. He had fresh legs. You could tell he was motivated. He was excited. And you know, we're using the word X factor. He came off the bench last night. And one of the things I recognize when he plays this well, you can put Jayson Tatum on the bench and you can rest him for extended periods of time. Jayson Tatum goes out. Now Jaylen Brown comes back in, and Porzingis is that guy that can kind of anchor everything and be that in between and allowing these guys to get breathers. I thought that was really important last night. But listen. Whatever shot that he wanted, wherever he wanted to go, there was no one on the Dallas Mavericks that can guard him. That's going to be a problem. You know, yesterday I said one of the more important guys is going to be Jrue Holiday because of what he brings defensively. On the offensive end, they're going to have to figure out what to do with Porzingis, so this is going to be a quick series.
I really think Boston could win. I'm not even just saying that. Joe Mazzulla said before this one, I hate it so much. He said that Porzingis has a 0 minutes restriction, Shams. Do we think he is starting the next one, or are they going to keep it like it is?
I mean, there's nothing that went wrong, right? So I think there's a lot of good chemistry that they've built through that Eastern Conference playoff run with Al Horford at center, especially the time that Kristaps Porzingis missed. I think it was genius really bringing him off the bench, letting him see, as guys have said, he was literally an X factor because we didn't know what shape he'd be in, how he'd perform. And really, the Celtics knew about 4 or 5 days ago that he would be 100% ready for the game, even though he had that practice issue. They knew he'd be ready. But they just didn't know the moment. It's the finals. Hasn't played in 5.5 weeks. But he really showed no rust. I mean, 16, 11, and 5 for Jayson Tatum, 22 for Jaylen Brown. This is a team that had, 5, 6 players in double figures. There's going to be an MVP if the Celtics win, obviously. But to me, the team, there's got to be some kind of a team recognition here if we can. But their team is just so well-rounded to me.
What a luxury also to have the oldest guy in this series, Al Horford, just plug in the starting lineup, contribute, defend, switch, guard pick and rolls, give you 10, 7, and 3, knock down threes. Boston Celtics had 7 guys with 2+ threes. Like it's
Ooh, that's a fun one.
When you're getting that much, production, that balance, you can't stop everything. You got ISO guys. You got when they draw 2 on the ball and you're kicking it out. Everyone can hit threes on this team. And Pritchard wasn't even one of them. He was 0 for 5. So everybody at any time can shoot threes and can lace you up. So they're tough to guard. You can't take away everything with this team.
You know what's funny? We criticize this team for playing ISO basketball and the way that they play, but I recognized something last night. They don't get a lot of assists on plays, but they get a lot of hockey assists, the extra pass. That's one of the things that Boston has done well that I never realized until last night. It was glaring last night that, yes, they'll make that pass, but they'll make the extra pass and put it on the floor for an even better shot or even better drive. And I thought that was something that, we should give them credit for. It looks like they play a lot of ISO ball, but now I'm recognizing that the hockey assist is in play.
And they are really good at finding a matchup and attacking it. If it works where you get Luka in a pick and roll, you go downhill, stick to it.
They were giving Luka headaches
If you switch on Porzingis and he gets a bucket, you know what we're doing the next play? We're going right back to Porzingis. So they are just a machine. They're consistent. Everything that works, they don't shy away from that. Everything, they get success on this play, they run it till you stop it, and they make you stop it. They make you adjust defensively. So I think it's a beautiful offensive.
You should have just followed through.
Yeah. My man's trying to give me water.
Yeah, I'm not mature.
Steve's the MVP today.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Steve, you know what? Just bring it to me.
Steve,
Just bring the water, Steve. Get some TV time. Holy moly. Yeah, come on. There we go. That's all right.
Friday. And also
Thanks,
Chandler's
Steve.
dying
This is
over
Steve.
here.
I got something going on over here. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you,
Had him
Steve. We
sprain his
appreciate
ankles
it.
for that stupid
If you guys
water.
would have seen him ducking and jiving
Killed
around
it.
this camera.
Killed it. Can we talk
Holy
Tatum for a second?
shit.
Because obviously Tatum is the one that gets the most heat, whatever. He had 16 points, 11 rebounds, but he also had 6 turnovers, and they still absolutely dominated. So I would say, Lou, he's a superstar, but man, he's in a good spot.
Who cares?
Right?
Who cares? So the 6 turnovers to me was I was up 20 and I'm taking chances.
Yeah.
It was at least 3 possessions I saw last night. They were up 17 points and they just came down and jacked threes. Those are called heat checks. We're just trying to bury you. We're trying to put you out of your misery right now. We have a lead. We feel confident enough to keep this lead, even though it was cut at 8 at one point. But even when it got cut to 8, it ballooned right back to 15 in a matter of seconds. You know what I mean? And so
It did.
some of those plays I felt like were in moments of the game where they were just trying to put the nail in the coffin and try to get this team out of here. But other than that, this is a great team win. I know everybody's going to make a fuss out of the 6 turnovers or the 16 points, but I'd rather have the 16 than the 30 with an L.
Yeah, when you beat a team by 30, who cares? You clean up some areas and stuff, but that is a luxury. If you're Jayson Tatum and you're Jaylen Brown, this is what me and Lou always say, the grass isn't greener on the other side.
Yeah.
You have arguably 3 of the best role players that fit that 2 duo in the entire world with Drew Holiday, KP, and Derek White. Those guys can take over a game. They can take over possessions. They defend. They're unselfish. They are a perfect fit for a scoring dynamic duo like Jayson Tatum and Brown. So if Jayson Tatum has an off night, he has turnovers, who cares? Because you know what? Derek White's going to pick up his slack. Jaylen Brown's kind of getting exposed defensively some night. Who cares? You have the best defending guard and Drew Holiday getting his back. And you have Porzingis in the paint, who last night Porzingis, he had however many block shots he had, but he altered like 6 other shots with his 3 block shots. So it's so.
He was altering everything.
Everything, and he didn't even.
Everywhere.
That's when people say, "Oh, it doesn't show up in the box score." And halftime, it's bullshit. It's true in this case.
Every time you look up, you're like, oh, yep, there he is.
He was going vertical. He even challenged Josh Green one time on the fast break where he kind of waited and tried to let him dunk on him and just beat his shit up. Like, it was unbelievable.
You know what? And going to the NBA Finals might have been the best thing for the Boston Celtics when it comes to Porzingis. That was the best basketball I've ever seen him play. He was motivated.
He's so happy.
It looked like he had something to prove.
Yeah.
When we talk about playing your former teams, it looked like he had something on his
100%.
chest. And he was excited. He was happy. He kept a smile on his face.
Oh.
He was just enjoying
But it was like maniacal at one point, like winking. I'm like, oh, I'm
a little
scared.
smirk and
Terrified.
And you know what happened? His first possession, he got fouled and got to the free throw line. Saw those 2 go in, and from there, it was just an onslaught of Porzingis.
Yep, you get an opportunity to take a deep breath, make a couple free throws, and like, okay, let me settle in. The jitters of being in the NBA Finals are out. I'm part of this thing now. Let's have some fun.
And you know what I like, too? After the game, Jaylen Brown, let's not get cute. This is one game. It's first to 4. 4. Like we know.
That's true.
We know Yeah, there you go. You can jump back on Dallas.
Mavs are
if you
back,
want.
baby.
This is no work is done. This is a great game. You know Dallas is going to make adjustments. So let's not get too carried away here. Let's go handle business again in game 2.
You know Luka's pissed. Drew Holiday did have some stuff to say after this one. Here he is.
I think it helps a lot. Throwing different guys at him, different guys that play defense differently. Some aggressive, some not. But I think even our white guys guard. So it's hopefully it's a challenge on them, and hopefully we can continue to do that.
Did he say even white guys?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Wait, he said what?
White guys.
White.
That's
That's
love
funny.
it. It's hilarious.
I was like, oh, wait, did he say what I think
He said it with a straight face, so it kind of threw everybody off.
Alex Caruso is kind of the only white defending guy in the league. So
Is that right?
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
That seems
Funny.
like a really short list.
We're shooters, Michelle. So,
Wow.
That's what we do.
Is that what you got from that sound? That's your thought?
by the way, I didn't know he was funny like that.
It's very dry with the delivery, though. You
Yeah,
can
he didn't
really
even
tell.
laugh after he said it. I think he was serious.
No, it's he's. By the way, people should remain forever pissed at the Milwaukee Bucks for so sloppily trading him away with no stipulations in place that he couldn't just come right back to a team like the Boston Celtics.
Think about that. Let's go and trade
Dear God.
arguably our most valuable player to the team that we're going to have to go through to win a championship.
Forever.
But you know what? I can't blame him. I can't blame him. Just looking back, if you got an opportunity at Damian Lillard and pairing him with the Greek Freak and Chris Middleton, you say, you know what? I don't care where you go. I like my chances.
Time
here.
will tell.
And for season 1, they were wrong. We'll see how they respond back next year.
Man, there weren't a ton of like highlights, I suppose you could say, but Jaylen Brown had a dunk. He had a
Yikes.
dunk. Yeah, let's just go ahead. Everything's calm.
And by the way, this is what they do again, all success all night. They put Luka in a pick and roll. They make him guard and move his feet. And
Luka.
you can't let him split the pick and roll like this. You have to stay in front. And then also the guy's got to step up down low. The bigs have to meet him out earlier, but this is nasty. And he almost got hung, by the way, right here.
I mean, he's kind of like
I mean, look how many people
Kyrie
he
tried.
did have to go
Everyone's
through
Look how
4
many-
human beings.
And this was like the body language for Dallas too. Is just, good God, you're down 20 already. Like, how did we get here? It's not great. Luka Doncic was. Here's what I worry about, and I don't know if I'm just worrying about nothing, but he did have 30. He had a season low 1 assist, however. I'm worried that he will be frustrated and resort back to sort of, I'm going to do everything, and that's just not going to work.
Well, he should be frustrated because defensively, I think, is where the holes are. He's still, at the end of the day, he was 12 of 26. It's a pretty good game. He had 30, 10, and he made the right pass on most plays. Guys just didn't make shots. Guys didn't convert. Lively kind of bobbled the ball a couple of times. They took away the lob. So I think that obviously he's got a lot of things to clean up, but the whole team, they had 9 assists on 35 field goals. That's not what they do offensively. That's not good. They had 5 assists through 3 quarters, which is like the lowest of like the last 3 or 4 seasons or something. So again, when they make shots and when PJ Washington's making shots and everyone's spacing the floor, then that allows Luka even more so to get in his bag, do what he does, get in the paint. Then it gives Kyrie Irving more space. But when they're not hitting shots, that just allows the defense to collapse and make those other guys beat you. And last night they didn't.
Lou, we've seen Luka do this, where it just feels like he's given up on the teammates and he's going to try it. And if this is what they look like offensively,
You get punched in the mouth, you're gonna be a little dizzy. That's the nature of the beast. He got punched in his mouth early, and it looked like they were just out of sorts.
Man.
They didn't know how to really respond. In the third quarter, they got going, and they put a run together. But even that run, it was like, not enough. It's not gonna be enough. So that's what I saw out of Luka last night. And sometimes when you don't know how to respond, when you do things so well, so long, and teams take that away from you, you're like, well, what do I have left? What do I have left in my bag? And Boston did a great job of just taking away everything that makes Luka Doncic so special. And he just looked out of sorts, from time to time. But other than that, I think these guys respond. But it was fun to watch last night. They were getting there.
remember when you guys were trying to give me a hard time on the thread?
About?
And then it was an 8-point game, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have the last laugh.
Yeah, and then I
Remember
sneezed,
that?
and it was like an 18-point game.
It was like a short-lived moment last night where I was like, yeah, it's happening. Kyrie, of course, was going to be the talk of the town because he's returning. And he spoke afterwards on this one, the environment and the series.
You mentioned the environment. How did that either meet or kind of exceed your expectations? And how did it affect you tonight?
No, I mean, it's basketball at the end of the day. Being in this environment, I'm used to it at this point. Early in my career, there was a different relationship that I had with Boston, just being able to come here, be settled with a veteran group. Now I'm here as the veteran. Over the past few years, just experiencing the playoffs here, even regular season, it's been the same thing. I thought it was going to be a little louder in here, but I'm expecting the same things going into game 2. Crowd trying to get me out of my element, my teammates out of my element. But again, the energy's got to be focused towards the game.
It was subtle.
You know what?
Subtle.
As one of the leaders of a team, I want my leader to be this centered and this poised. Even he had a timeout. He did the first quarter timeout, and his answer was very similar to this. He's like, they're playing well. They've been a good team all year. This is their home court. They're motivated. They're whooping us right now. We just got to be better, and we got to respond. You like that response from your leader. I feel like as this series go on, though, the message has to get louder. You have to. I don't know what's going on.
What?
I'm listening. I'm getting wiser.
The message has to get louder. I like the poise. I like that they're not overreacting to anything. But at some point, this has to turn into we got to get going. But I appreciate the fact that he was centered.
Why did he throw in? I thought they'd be louder.
He was very organic in that interview.
job.
Don't start. Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. It's okay.
But here's the thing: when you're 0-11, he did have to throw the little jab.
It was so subtle,
louder.
though.
I wish he would have done that. But again, he did struggle. He did get good looks. Is he going to have 12 points probably again the rest of the series? No.
God, I hope not.
He's still got to his mid-range. He's still he's going to clean those up. He's going to make those shots. Kyrie Irving. He's one of the greatest offensive players that we've ever seen. So he's going to bounce back from this. But when you are 0-11 versus Boston since leaving, and the crowd is on your head every time you touch the ball, it's probably not what I would say after a game 1 ass whooping, but they're going to make adjustments. He's going to have a big game next game, and it's going to be exciting. But I
don't know. His delivery when he said it, though, was very calm, so it's almost like it was smooth.
I thought it was pretty loud.
Smooth.
I mean, they every single time he touched the ball, they were
like
on
it.
him. So I don't know.
But he wanted more. He wants more.